The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine podcast and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Hello. Today I have the absolute privilege of connecting with Dani Devren, who is one of our amazing columnists. Not only is she a soul-aligned mentor, she is an energy alignment specialist who guides spiritually curious women in business to trust their energy, own their voice, and build aligned, fulfilling brands. Blending spirituality, feminine energetics, and intuitive visibility strategy, she helps women rise into confidence and authentic leadership through her soul-aligned visibility method, private mentorship, and her growing community. Her mission is to guide women back to who they truly are so that they can lead, create, and be seen from a place of truth and inner power. Welcome, Dani.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful to hear read back to me, actually. I love that. Thank you.
I hear that. I hear that so often that it feels so good to hear all the things that you do in this world. Okay, well, today we're exploring courage and confidence, which is our theme for our February full moon issue. And in your article, The Nudge That Wouldn't Quit, From Accidental Solopreneur to Fully Embodying the CEO Mindset, you really take us on a journey of how you began a joyful juggling act of not only motherhood, but creativity and multiple businesses. Even though the outside looked chaotic, you found a way to bring it all together. So why don't you share a little bit about your article and perhaps why you wrote it?
Thank you so much. So for me, courage and confidence is a massive part of my story anyway, because I have always been courageous. I've always been that person to speak out in a room full of strangers. I always do the things that make me uncomfortable. I've always been a yes person. However, confidence was something that I have grown because I believe you can be externally confident, but very insecure on the inside. And that was me for a long time. And I think for many years, I followed this unconscious intuition. And really in the last year of my personal spiritual awakening, I've made that conscious. And now that I'm aware of that intuition, I can now fully embody that outer confidence because I now trust that inner confidence. And that's now what I teach. Essentially, it's the soul aligned confidence. When you really do trust that inner compass. So my story, it was a bit of a journey because I shared exactly how I've come to where I'm at now, which was that juggling act, which you've described beautifully, because I have always been a doer and I don't sit still for long and I will do and I'm creative by nature. And for me, it's a really beautiful organic journey where I became a mother and I launched my first business. So those two things have always gone hand in hand. And of course, spiritually and energetically, when you become a mother, everything shifts. Your identity transforms. And I think I'm very blessed that I was able to keep hold of who I was away from being a mum because just by chance, or clearly the universe had plans for me, that I grew my first business at the same time. So I didn't have that chance to lose myself because that self was growing alongside this new world. So I massively threw myself into that new business as well as having this baby at home and enjoying all the things that come with being a stay-at-home mum. But that was never in my path because I have to be doing, I have to be growing, I have to be creating. I just have always wanted to have that beautiful polarity, I guess, between being a mother and a family woman, but also loving that career, loving to strive for building an empire. And I feel really blessed that I was able to marry the two and grow both babies at the same time. So yeah, my article is all about how I juggled that kind of transition and actually energetically how much was going on under the surface that I wasn't aware of because I had to navigate a lot of stuff that comes with that. So it really was a journey.
Yeah, before we started the show, you and I were talking about how you really give women permission to navigate their natural selves, what things feel like internally for them. And you talk about also in your article how it's not just a learning, it really is this remembering. And you called yourself the human connector, how you're connecting and enticing people to become spiritually curious, if you will. And so, one of the things that I'm curious about myself is how does one understand that it's not just a learning, it's a remembering, it's a deep soul reminder of who they truly are? Where do you begin your clients in this process?
What I think is really powerful is that you don't need to understand everything, you just have an inner nudge. And when those nudges comes, it makes sense when somebody explains it in a way that, isn't it funny that you feel like this? I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's because you're remembering something. And as soon as you start planting those seeds, the logic you can see unfold and they then start processing, oh my goodness, that makes a lot of sense. Because actually that's the beauty of being human. We don't need to understand the how. We just need to trust that it is. And actually, when you start thinking logically about the things that we were taught as children and believing in Father Christmas and all these things and God and Jesus, on one level, we were taught to believe, we were taught to have hope and faith. So now it's a nice way to remind as adults that you can just remember things and actually trust that it is because it feels right. And when it feels right, that's enough. You don't need to understand the how or the why or the what or the who or the when or all these things that we think conditionally we do have to understand. Actually, a massive part of what I teach my clients now is the act of surrender. So I'm massive on the universal laws, as you know, and to understand and embody the law of allowing is truly embracing not being able to control, not being able to understand, and just surrendering because you have this inner faith that it makes sense because it just does. And I think remembering that there's a reason why that you're into music or you're an artist, or there's a reason why that you walk somewhere and you smell something and it's familiar. All these tiny little nudges is your soul remembering a life that was, or just part of that soul and how you are here now. It all is intertwined. And I found that fascinating when I learned about my soul gifts and my Akashic records and understanding that part, because of course, everyone has a different theory, right? And I think it's important to remind people this is just a theory. We don't force our beliefs on anybody. This is something that will either bring you joy and comfort and peace, and take the parts that resonate and leave the rest. And I always introduce it like that. And I think that alone gives people permission to be curious because it's not forcing a belief on anybody. It's about sharing the possibility of what could be. And if it feels right, let's explore it. Or this is my personal journey. What do you feel about it? And then, what has happened is everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. I need to know more. And then you naturally, organically entice them in because they see the transition and they see how, grounded and confident I am in this work, that they then feel that energy. And now as humans, we all know how the planet is shifting and frequencies rising, and we are becoming more in tune and aware of energy. We can read it, we can feel it. So more people are noticing. And I think there's something really poignant about the fact that my awakening happened in the last year. My journey in this world happened in 2025. And as the prophecies all said in the Aquarian age, like it is literally now. So it makes sense to me. And that's where I have my logic. No wonder I'm now doing this work, because now people are waking up. Now they're curious. Now they need somebody to guide them, but somebody that's brand new as well. So it feels safe. It feels familiar. They have that resonance with me because I'm brand new too. And I give them that permission to just explore, because I say to them, this is brand new for me as well. I'm just open-minded. And I guess I now remember that this is who I've always been. And I've now been guided in a way that helps me to remember fully. And I've gone on the journeys and I've done the shadow work and the inner work and all that sort of stuff, the deep stuff, that now I feel confident enough to share it. And I think there's something really powerful in any work that anyone does, that you allow somebody the permission to be themselves and explore that for themselves. There's no pressure. And that's the beauty of the curiosity part, I think.
Inside the Sovereign community, you'll find more than a social platform. You will find many private spaces led by women who walk the path with you. like Abby from Canada. Connect with her in her sacred space called Reclaimed and Rise. Step into the Maven Haven with Ebony from the UK, or join the Open Heart Collective with Bonnie from the US. These are just some of the soul sanctuaries curated by conscious women for conscious connection. Come find your space inside the Sovereign community today. I'm going to move us into steps to your sovereign self. And we always meet everyone where they're at. And Dani doesn't like to know her questions ahead of time. And so she has no idea what I'm going to ask. So we're going to have this beautiful conversation. And I'm going to pretend like I am kind of new to my business. And I have a couple of questions. So let's see if we can get through them. So as I'm a busy generator like you, and I want to know what you would say to me if I am struggling between the doing and the being in my business as the CEO of my business. And how do I handle these parts of me that kind of need to die, if you will, in order for me to truly claim my worthiness and my true identity? Because I'm so stuck in this old conditioning, this old, perhaps patriarchal way. Now I'm moving into the Aquarian age. So what transformations need to happen for me, and how would you help me navigate that?
Well, this is a really good question. I love this. So the first word that came to my mind was compassion. I think as humans, we are so hard on ourselves. We are constantly expecting ourselves to be transforming and changing and growing and shifting. And actually, the fact that you said what needs to die was a massive red flag, because absolutely nothing needs to die. Things need to evolve. However, you need to give yourself the compassion and the grace to feel all the feels, to navigate everything as it comes. And I think a massive part of what I teach is to trust the law of allowing, because everything is exactly how it should be. And as soon as you remove that control and that obsession with perfecting, it happens naturally. Like it truly does. When you learn to disconnect, and I talk about this method called the power of the pause. And it was massive for me because I was always a very reactive, fast-moving person. I'll call it the Dani train. I'm always on the Dani train. And I've really learned to get off that train and just chill out and just completely disconnect. Because what I found is as soon as you step away, the clarity comes, the wisdom comes, and you just trust this inner knowing that what you need to do next will happen. And actually society has programmed us to know the next step, but actually we're not supposed to know the next step. We're supposed to trust in the flow. And I like to remind my clients, in a very busy, noisy world that's fast-paced, actually learn to slow down, actually learn to be in the moment and trust that what's happening right now is what should be happening. And compassion is a massive part of that.
Okay, I'm going to throw you a complete curveball.
Yeah, it's doing. Go on.
Okay, so a lot of what you teach is about Instagram. And as this CEO and new business owner, you have taught me in some of your online videos that I should be showing up, and it's okay to just show up as I am. However, you said be in flow and it's okay, but I feel like I'm required to show up every day or multiple times a day. And there's all these requirements online and on socials. How do I deal with all of that pressure that I feel of followers and numbers and views and visibility? Give me some advice on how I can show up authentically online.
So what you will find is no matter what I'm saying, I have never said you need to or you must. I don't tell anyone to do anything, right? I have been in the online space for 7-8 years now. So now I show up multiple times a day. However, I don't tell my clients to do that at all. I tell them to trust their energy and show up when they feel called to. And of course, with the support, with somebody by them to say, you've got this, let's go. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to recite anything. Let's just show up and speak a little bit about your day. But of course, that doesn't just come naturally. Not everyone can just show up on camera. So there's small steps to doing that. However, what I like to remind people is do not feel like you have to do anything. And that's where I allow my clients the permission to use their Instagram how best serves them. Because I have never said that my way is the right way or their way is the wrong way. I like to remind everybody to choose your own path and listen to your own intuition. And sometimes that's really, really hard to hear, because what I say is silence the noise and listen to the whispers. And sometimes that noise is really loud and it's really shouting, it's really controlling. And it's like, you must do this, you must do that. So I'm kind of that soft, compassionate voice that says, you don't have to do anything. What do you want to do today? How do you feel right now? And I get them excited about their business, and I remind them what they love and what amazing thing they did with their client this morning. And then they say, oh my God, I'd love to talk about that. So I say, let's go. Let's talk about that right now. Go and do it on your camera. Go do it now. And that's what I want to teach people. I want it to be habitual. I want you to feel like you can get off a call with your client and you can feel in that moment and you're buzzing and you're proud of what you've just delivered. That's when you strike. That's when you show up on Instagram. We don't want to force, we don't want to perform, and we definitely don't want to perfect. And I think that is a learning curve in itself. But when you become in that flow, it makes sense. And I think that's why I will never talk about followers or going viral. And I won't talk about the vanity metrics, because people just don't behave like that anymore. You can be watching a reel and you can love it and it resonates and you feel it and you want to work with that person. You don't double tap, you don't comment, you go off again, you're scrolling. And I think that's what's really powerful for everyone that creates, that we need to be creating for us first, not for the performance, not for the outcome. And when you shift your intention to create because you want to create, you don't even care whether somebody sees it, likes it, comments, shares, or responds. And that's the pivotal point of you regaining your control and your power, because we don't actually care about the result. And of course, by not caring and allowing that to happen, you will receive the results because you're going to naturally attract them. And that's why I love to teach people to become a magnet. So it's a massive mindset shift. It's very clever, but it's very interesting to see how this flows organically, because of course, the byproduct of what you will receive when you act like that is exactly what you wanted in the first place. But you remove the pressure of wanting it. You stop looking at it, you stop seeking it, and it becomes as a natural organic byproduct, which is why I say my work is very spiritual, because really you have to trust in the allowing and you have to trust in the law of attraction, and you become the mirror that you want to receive. You put out the energy that you want more of, but you have to align your intentions and you have to sort that mindset bit out, because we can all go into panic, right? We can all go into scarcity mode and we're forcing, we're performing, we're looking for likes, we're checking out followers. And that's the wrong energy already. And we need to really check ourselves. So it's all about calming the nervous system before you even get on Instagram. So I like to help people with that compassionate self-love bit. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And now you can see why Dani is our multidimensional law of attraction, manifestation, and energy alignment columnist for 2026, right? She's absolutely amazing. She's here to help you unleash your own identity, activate your personal brand. So for any of those who are very interested in hearing more, definitely like, share, and subscribe. She is in our community.sovereign-magazine.com. All of her details are in the show notes, and guess what? She's going to be back for the new moon. So definitely stick around. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I've loved it.
Thanks for listening. This is the last episode for this issue. I'll be back again on the new moon with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.